Okay, and then the last item I have is a list that's been provided to you of CARES expenditures, a long list, most of which are for the mask campaign. They're identified by their amounts, and the total list comes up to $797,179.39 for this round of expenditures or invoices that have come in since your last meeting. And I'll just tell you, the last report that I submitted to DCED, which must be at the end of each month, we submitted one on Thursday. We were up to, as of the close of October, we were up to about $5.8 million in expenditures of the CARES funds, of the $12.8 million in CARES funds. In my conversation with DCED auditors, and that at that time we're on pace and very comparable to other counties. I think he mentioned one county has spent 75% of their funds, but the majority of that has been the CARES business grants that you approved back in mid-October, and those have been dispersed. So the entities have all gotten their information to us, resolved any problems with paperwork or anything like that. And I want to thank Dawn here in our office and the controller's office. I think I may have done that before, but they've got a tremendous amount of work in creating each of those entities as a vendor. Each of those businesses is a new vendor in our system, but those have all gone out. That's a big part of that. And as you know, there's a second round of those grants. That window closed on Friday. So the review committee, the review panel is looking over those applications now, and we'll have recommendations to you next week for the remainder of those funds, which at this point is going to be somewhere around between 3 and 3.5 million. I'm still trying to sort out how much the demand has been for municipal reimbursements, and if there's funding left over in that category, we'll slide that over to the CARES business grants so that we don't leave anything on the table for the grants. But anyhow, but before you today are the invoices for the expenditures that have been incurred since the last meeting was approved. So 797, 179.39. If you have any questions on any of those, I'll try to answer them.
I'm getting a lot of background noise.
Might be over at voter.
Yeah,
There we go. Okay, thank you. I do have a question, Jamie, for clarification. You said $5.8 million expended in CARES. Is the 1.2 million for the Mask Up campaign on top of that or included in the 5.8?
Some of it in the 5.8 if it was incurred in October. So the report, the 5.8 that I submitted to DCED in terms of the monthly report was anything you had approved up to October 30th, or that had been paid up to October 30th. So certainly there were some Mask Up campaign expenditures that were approved in September and October. But I don't, what portion of that 1.2 I don't have in front of me. I mean, there's, probably the most of it is going to be in here. I would say we're at about, on this list that I provided to you for today, probably 700,000 of that 797 is Mask Up campaign. The other, as you can see on there, some of it is economic development and the fourth economy that we just talked about, the fourth economy agreement. And some of it we also have in here for the first time. We have some mental health and substance abuse reimbursements for providers, PPE. So, but
thank you. Would you kindly maybe share a copy with the commissioners, or at least with me if they're not interested, of the DCED report so I can get a handle on what that looks like?
Yeah, it's a simple, I'm happy to do that, but it's a simple one page, just how much was spent in each.
And a couple numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That'd be helpful. Thank you.
Sorry, was that a motion?
It's not my turn to make a motion.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Ames.
I'll make a motion to approve the spending as outlined.
I'll second the motion, and I will acknowledge Hal Conte's request for a copy as well of the report Jamie's going to provide.
As part of the motion,
Sure.
I mean, we're just approving the expenditures. What?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could, before the vote,
Yes, Bill.
I just want to clarify that I voted against the study, but I will vote to cover the funding because a majority of the commissioners approved that. So it's my obligation as a member of this board to approve to pay the bills that we've been obligated to.
Appreciate that, Bill. Thank you. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we pay this expenditure. Any further comment? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Okay, and I think that's everything I have. There is a hand raised.
That's how he was asking for the copy, unless there's more.
Well, he
It's in the comment.
asked for one in the chat, but he also has his hand raised.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, no, I have a bit more. So first of all, I guess, do you know when you'll be able to get that to me? And I'll provide my email. I'll put my email in the chat right now.
Yeah, I can do it this morning easily.
Thank you very much. And secondly, you mentioned Bill, and you've mentioned in the past that you were initially opposed to the way that the Mask Up campaign, or just the idea of having this campaign as a way of spreading information. I believe that was something reported previously about that being like a way that you prefer there be other things instead of that, in terms of like, you don't think the government should tell us how to spend the money, the county. Do you still believe that, or do you think that the campaign has been a success now that you're now in favor of?
First of all, I'm not in a position to measure the success. Notice that the numbers seem to be going up, so basing it on that, and I'm certainly that certainly isn't a scientific method, I don't think, and we're always encouraged to follow the science. But based on that, I wouldn't deem it a success. But I honestly think it's ridiculous to spend that kind of money when there are people that are applying for grants and are not going to be getting them. In addition to that, no, I don't think it's the state government, and particularly the governor's job, to dictate how the folks in Lebanon County spend the money that has been granted to us by the federal government. Does that
Bill,
answer your question?
may I have a rebuttal on that?
You don't need to rebut it, Commissioner. The man asked me a question and I gave my opinion.
Commissioner Litz, do you need to say something?
Yes, I would. I would like to say that everyone in this campaign, whether it's for CARES or the Mask Up campaign, has done a stellar job, above board, and we are making progress. I think that if in everyone's hands is the power to wear a mask, wear it properly, keep it clean, and together, if everyone does that, we can defeat this virus and keep it at bay until we actually get vaccines that come out that can immunize us against this dreadful and deadly disease. We must stay positive. We must set the tone. We must show leadership and cooperate with those who are providing the funds. And you know what? That mass campaign is infusing all kinds of cash into local businesses. Those businesses are getting a hand up, not a handout. I think that has to be the message. It's the money still coming to Lebanon County, and we are helping our local businesses with that money. Even if you look at the expenditures today, you will see that mental health businesses are getting money from the CARES funding. This is a win-win for us. We are very fortunate to be getting this money, and I think we should be grateful. And that's my comment. Thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Certainly,
I
certainly.
think we certainly are fortunate to get this money. This money has been granted to us by the federal government, and I stand by my position that I do not think the governor had the right to intervene and determine how we spend the money. I am grateful, Commissioner Litz, that this money is going to local vendors, but I still think it would have been better spent giving the money to businesses that actually need this grant money to keep their doors open, rather than giving. And I'm grateful that the businesses here in the county are providing most of the services for the Mask Up campaign. I think
That's right.
we both. Excuse me.
We're
I think
providing jobs, so that's important.
We just let Commissioner Ames finish his thought, please.
I
I
thought
think
he
we
asked me to clarify.
I think we both have the same good ends in mind, Commissioner Litz. I think we're both looking for the same results, and that is to have the residents and the businesses of Lebanon County benefit. Where we disagree is on how we're going about that and the direction that it's going. So other than that, I'm fine.
Anything else?
And I did vote to spend the money for things for which I disagree. And if you'll recall, back when we did the nursing home and so on, you voted no against everything after that the two other commissioners had authorized. So I'm just trying to step us up a bit from that.
I still believe in being consistent with my vote, sir.
Okay, very good.
All right. Did that answer your question for the gentleman from the Daily News? Are we finished? I guess we are. All right, so we'll ask for an adjournment of our meeting, and then Bill, you can convene your election board.
Thank you.
Can we adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Okay.
Second?
Okay, we stand adjourned. Thank you for your attendance, and now we'll turn it over to Commissioner